Hi, welcome to Love Saranghae with Peter and Andrea. In the next 30 minutes, we'll take you on a journey into the exciting world of entrepreneurship, relationships, and the secrets behind achieving that coveted glow. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, welcome to another episode of Love Saranghae with us, Peter and Andrea. And today we're diving into a big topic that's both very exciting, but also pretty challenging as entrepreneurs, right? It's travel and taking time off.
Ooh.
Right. Yes. As business owners, we've got to be able to figure out how to take some time off. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And we will share our upcoming travel plans, the reasons behind our destination, and how these impact these breaks, and we take long breaks, impact our business and our mindset. Plus, we'll discuss the struggles and growth that come with stepping away from our daily grind. So anything do you want to add there, Andrea?
No, you got it.
All right, so let's get going.
Let's go.
All right. Let's talk. You start.
All right. We're both recovering from I don't know what. We're coughing, so bear with us.
Okay, so where are we going? Andrea, where are we going? Let's just start with that. Where are we going?
So we're leaving directly to Spain. We're going first to Malaga, Spain. And while we're in Spain, we'll be there for a couple of weeks. And while we're there, we'll be traveling a little bit around Spain. We'll be going to Seville and a few other places that we can drive to or possibly take a boat. But we're not going to be flying out of Malaga. And then we're heading from there to Switzerland. And we're going to Zermatt and Zurich while we're in Switzerland. And we chose those destinations. Well, Peter, maybe you want to share that one.
Well,
it's not your fault that we're going there.
So we've always, as a family, decided, for the kids, we decided to do these long destination vacations. Instead of just taking a week off here, a week off there, we thought it would be very educational and beneficial to immerse our children and the family into a different culture and get as much out of it you can. And as you all know by now, I'm an avid runner and climber. And I mean, we're in the Alps when you go to Switzerland. So I've combined my love for running with my hopeful love for travel for this destination. So I have a race in Switzerland, Zermatt. It's called the Ultrax Sky Race. And I'll be running a 50-kilometer ultra marathon, which has 4,000 meters of elevation gain, which is basically 4 kilometers up and down. It's going to be a brutally difficult mountain race, but extraordinarily fun.
How long will that take you?
My goal is 10 hours, but I think it'll probably take longer than that. The cutoff is like 28, so hopefully I won't be taken off the course because I'm too slow. But it's basically it's climbing mountains and going down. It's up and down the whole way. There's very little straight running. So that's going to be very interesting.
So the cool thing about Zermatt is that they don't have any cars.
That's right.
So
yeah.
It's a rotten town. What they do have is gondolas, gondola-type moving...
Lots of trains.
Devices and trains. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see how even I will navigate that with the children.
Yeah.
But we're trying to find you on the mountain and chill you on from somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a bit of an adventure for us, this one.
You know what I've noticed, though? This is our second long trip. The first one was Greece. So my wife will tell anybody who listens to this, I am a stickler for details and planning. Yeah. I don't like things when they go off plan, and I don't like things that happen spontaneously. If it's a 2-week trip, I will lay out the itinerary. I will look to the hour, to the minute, right? Which train, which schedule, how many bathroom breaks. I don't like surprises. But what I'm finding is that for this particular trip especially, we have no itinerary. We're winging it as it comes. And I'm okay with that, which is surprising.
Yeah.
Right?
But in some way, we have all of our planes, trains, and automobiles booked, quite literally. And we have everything booked, where we're staying and all of that. But usually we have more of an itinerary, like you said. While we're there, what are we doing? And this trip we don't. And I think I'm a bit of both. I really like to have an itinerary for some of it. So there's certain things when I go to a place that I really want to do. So to make sure that I do those things, I like to have it laid out. But then there's a lot of space where it's wake up today and what do we feel like doing? And I love that too, because generally here at home, our life is very structured.
It's regimented.
And it has to be in order to do all the things that we want to do personally and professionally. So it's nice to have a break from that once in a while. But I know that's really hard for you.
It is. So we know why Switzerland. And if I had my choice, we would have stayed in that mountain town for 3 weeks, like Zermatt, Switzerland, Chamonix. I love the Alps and I love that area.
Yeah.
Why Spain, Andrea?
Well, I'll be honest with you guys. We didn't really have another destination in mind. We started with Switzerland, and then we just started looking at where else would we love to go in Europe, and what would we love to do? And then we started looking at accommodation. And in our household, my daughter, who's 2, Maya, she still sleeps in a dark room with a noise machine alone. And she has a really hard time sleeping when she's not in that environment. So we often, when we travel, we try to find a 2-bedroom situation. So my son can sleep with us, no problem. But she will not sleep with us. So often we'll be locking her in the bathroom or something so that she has a dark environment. So in Europe, it's really hard to find hotels with 2 bedrooms. So we have gone the Airbnb route. So we just started looking at
hold on before you do. We need 3 bedrooms, not 2 bedrooms. So in Europe, it's hard to find hotels with 3 bedrooms.
Sometimes, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because we're looking for 3 bedrooms.
It depends though, because sometimes the 2 bedrooms, one of the bedrooms has 2 beds. So then Marcus can sleep in the other bed beside us. But it's Maya who can't sleep with anyone. Like, she's still pretty much a princess. And
well, true enough. But if we're going to go for 3 weeks or we're going to be away, I am not sleeping with with Marcus beside us the whole time, right? Like, he's going to be like, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. So we were looking for 3-bedroom accommodations.
So excited.
Yeah, we were making...
It's hard. It's hard to find
very difficult.
there. So we decided to look at different villas and different apartment-style options. And that's how we decided on Malaga. We found a really beautiful villa there with a pool in a really cool little town. And we said, let's do it.
And of course,
that's what we did.
And of course, the other criteria is it had to be affordable and it had to be, it wasn't going to be too expensive to kind of travel around there. So that's why I didn't want to stay in Switzerland too long. I know it's very expensive there. Nor did I want to go to like Paris or London. I'm not going to spend a gob-awful amount of money traveling around. So Spain came up to be a great choice.
The other thing about the major cities like Barcelona, Paris, and so on, I'm not a big fan of the big cities. I really like the smaller villages where people are not tourists. They actually live there. And I love to go and sort of immerse into that culture.
Yeah, so do I.
Go to the grocery store, go to the farmer's market, go to all the places that I would go to maybe at home. And I get to know them. Like, I get to know the baker and I get to know the people there. And I really enjoy that, even though there's a language barrier and it's a little bit of a challenge at the beginning. It's really refreshing for me. I don't know why, but it's one of the best things I enjoy on a holiday.
Yeah, and that's the reason why we chose Spain. Now, those are like unbelievable reasons, but there you go.
They're not magical or anything like that. But it works and we're super excited.
I mean, it's warm, and it's, it's cost effective. They got good food. What more can you ask for?
You guys say the word cost effective like 15,000 times. This is my husband that I have to live with all the time.
This is what dads do. Moms don't look at the checkbook. Dads do. So dads have to make sure this is controlled.
That is a sexist comment, and
it is. I stand by it.
I reject it.
All right. So
okay, let's move on. So that's where we're going. We're taking a big trip. We're going for about 3 weeks. It's very different to travel as an entrepreneur, and I'm someone who's sort of been in both worlds. I used to be a teacher for 15 years. Whenever it was vacation time, I literally did what I needed to do to be ready for school whenever we started back. Whenever the vacation was over, And I would not think about my classroom until I came back. I would take my trip. I would just not be a teacher for the amount of time I was on holidays. But as an entrepreneur, I find it very, very different. And I now understand better Peter when he used to struggle with traveling, especially for a longer period of time. So, Peter, do you want to just answer this question maybe for our audience? What challenges do you face when planning to take time off, an extended amount of time off from your business?
I mean, it's a whole spectrum of things, right? It's everything from logistical to motivation to how it seemed to the employees to guilt to all that in between. So I remember, it's just like what Andrea was saying, when I was working in corporate, I remember we used to get 3 weeks vacation and those were sacred. Like you take off, the day that you take off for vacation, you don't even think about, because back in those days, we didn't have a phone that checks email.
Yeah.
Maybe you brought a laptop if the company issued you one on your vacation, but mostly you were free to take your vacation as you see fit and with no repercussions. So, they were sacred. I would literally look forward to the times, the holidays and the vacation time and just revel the heck out of it. But as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and I've been now an entrepreneur for a long time, I'd say over 15 years now, more than that. Yeah, more than 2 decades now. I dread vacation because vacation is a time that not just for me, but for my employees, because I'm covering. So first of all, the business has to go. And if there's people who are not there to do the work, I have to do them. So number one, that I dread that. 2, I dread the fact that the business could, the unknown of what happens to my child, my business, the thing that I take care of. Yeah. When I take my eyes off the prize. Right. And every entrepreneur will tell you, no matter how much they trust their staff and how much they trust the system, that there's always a thought in the back of your mind going, did the office blow up today? Like, was there a missile crisis? Was there a flood? Did the customer service people piss off too many customers and all that stuff?
Not ours. Ours is wonderful.
Yeah, our customers are always great, of course.
Our customer service reps are great too. So part of that.
What are the things that I think about that it's probably self-inflicted. None of this is probably true, but the very first thing is the state of the business. And because I'm an engineer, I always look at things from a worst case perspective, the factor of safety, right? What can go wrong? And then you plan for what can go wrong. That's what a normal
backwards.
Yeah. But that's what a normal, effective leader does. They'll say, okay, what are the potential problems that can happen? Solve those problems, right? But even when you solve them, you don't know if you solve them completely. So you're always thinking, what if that fails? What if this happens? So the thing that serves you well in business is also what kind of kills you when you have to take some time away, because you're always thinking, well, did I do it correctly? Did we do enough? What happens if this happens? We solve for 90% of the case, but in the 10% that we can't solve it, I'm not there, right? So that's probably the biggest drawback to going away is that. What's the funny thing?
Can I ask another question about that? Do you think that mindset has actually created more problems for you?
I wouldn't say it's created more problems, but I will say it has severely crippled my ability to enjoy vacation, right? Which over time severely limits my creativity and my health, et cetera, right? Because I never recharge, or I never used to recharge. It was almost impossible. Now, what's interesting, though, is that I have realized it's better for me to be away for 3 weeks and figure out a way to keep in touch with the business than it is to go away for 5 days and be completely off the grid, right? And anybody who is in corporate will know that you love the day that you take off for vacation. It's love, it's excitement, it's beautiful. The day you get back from vacation, it's complete hell, because you have if you're a week off, it's a week of catching up to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the work you have to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So. And that happens for us too.
Yeah.
That happens for us as well.
Yeah. That's true. Do you think that these trips benefit your business in any way? And of course, your personal mindset well-being? let's start with the business. Do you think these trips benefit your business in any way?
Well, I don't go away. So I don't go away to vacation looking for an objective, right?
Yeah.
I don't say, let me go to Greece for 3 weeks and figure out a way to make my business better. And normally, if you don't have an objective in mind, you don't get it done, right? So in that sense, I don't think that it's a great way to furthering on the business. Having said that, sometimes you go to a trip, you see a packaging on the shelf, maybe you see another beauty product you haven't seen before, ideas start to happen. Maybe that happens, but that's not a regular occurrence. That happens in times that you don't plan for. So I can't say that, every time I go away, I do it so that I can further the business.
We don't go away that often to notice.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
go away once a year, really. Like our big trip is in the summer.
Yeah.
Occasionally, Peter will have little mountain weekends or whatever, but the mountain climbing weekends are not a vacation for you. They're physically and mentally exhausting.
But they're great in terms of.
But they're great, for
recovery.
sure. I don't mean to denounce that, but I actually think the opposite here. I actually think when we travel, when we went to Greece, I remember last summer, any trip that I've taken that's more than a couple of days, I come back like really fresh. My mind is clear.
Yeah.
I feel healthier. I feel like, okay, I'm ready to go. And I'm just in like a rock solid like frame of mind. Like it's almost like I got ideas. I got, it's like my creativity juices are just like on fire, and it's working isn't hard. It's fun. And it just completely shifts my perspective.
So I agree with that. And I was going to finish off my answer by saying, but from a personal perspective,
Yeah.
it does refresh me, right? Taking your mind out of the game. And you hope that refreshment, that regeneration or renewal in your motivation and intelligence and all that jazz reflects in the business.
Yeah.
But not always.
Not always.
Not always. And I guess it all depends. And you have to put a caveat here. All of this depends on who you are, what position that you have,
Yeah.
what kind of business you run. A services business versus a product-based business, you'll have different needs, different motivations, and different outcomes, right? So it's not an answer that somebody out there has an art studio is listening and I'm going, hey, wait a minute, that doesn't apply to me. So you got to take that with a caveat, right?
Yeah. You've mentioned earlier that you have a lot of guilt around taking time off. Can you speak to that? Can you speak to that? Why do you think there's so much guilt around rest and like the owners of a company, an entrepreneur taking time off?
Yeah. So, when I'm of two things. So one is that I practice what I preach, right? So I don't ask people to do things that I'm not willing to do myself. And two, I work really, really hard, or at least I ask my people to work really hard, right? So when I take vacation, I almost feel like I'm not there with the rest of the people working hard and making things happen. That makes me feel guilty.
Was there anything else that makes you feel guilty?
No, I think that's it. I'll tell you this. The period of time where I felt the least guilty was when the pandemic happened. When the pandemic happened, there was a period of time when we shut down quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what was happening. So we shut down most projects. We didn't want to push things or spend money on things or do things out of the norm. Just do the bare minimum to keep the company going and figure out what's going to happen, right? There was a time.
Yeah.
And that time I felt no guilt. I felt no guilt for running 3 hours in the afternoon. I felt no guilt for not following with my employees. I felt no guilt for nobody coming to the office. None of that, because there was nothing to push for. So it was like, hey, every day I just came in and did what I want to do. No guilt at all.
Yeah, it's almost like a collective.
Which is
release.
interesting. Yeah.
Because nobody really knew what was going to happen. So it was really just a matter of, okay, get these tasks done and have a good day.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too and I feel less about that now because as I get older, I realize the ship moves at the speed that the ship moves, and no matter how much pacing I do on the deck, it's not going to move any faster. Mm-hmm. So I've come to that realization as an older entrepreneur now. But back in the day, I thought that the early bird and the worm the worm that always worked gets the worm.
The early bird gets the worm.
Yeah, the early bird and the late bird and the mid-afternoon bird gets the
Yeah.
worm, right? So I was just hustling and pushing and hustling, and if I wasn't doing so, somebody else was,
Yeah.
right? And so I felt guilty because I wasn't doing all that I could to get myself ahead, right? But I
still
feel
feel like you're a little bit like that, to be honest. Like you're better than you were when I met you before.
that's never going to go away. That
No,
little
I
bit
don't
is never
think
going to
and
go
I
away.
don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm not
I think it's
judging
healthy.
you. I just think that you still do have quite a bit of that. Like when you see other people in your network, they're working and you're not. Even if you're on a vacation,
Yeah.
you're like almost jealous that they're working. And I'm like,
Yeah.
on vacation.
You know, and it's a funny thing. So I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because there is one thing that it's hard to kind of put into words, but in our culture, in the Asian culture, there's nobility in work,
Yes.
right? There's a character, there is a belonging, there is a something good in work, right?
Yeah. But we grew up that way too. Like, you work hard and you will be successful. It's never been work smart,
Yeah.
which could mean
Yeah.
work less, but
Yeah.
work like smartly. Instead of doing it in 8 hours, do it in 4.
But
There's
then-
no honorability in that or nobility in that from our generation.
Yeah.
It's almost like a mindset shift.
Well, people used to say that all the time. Well, you know, why would you work 8 hours if you could do it in 4? And I would say, why can't you do 16 and 8 then? Right? Like, why are you saying that you want to take 8 to 4? You know, if you have 4 hours left, work those 4, get 8 more hours in, and get that much further ahead, right? So it's like, you know, I had a response to that phrase.
Always
Right?
have to respond. But I think that is something that I think about often with our children is, what am I teaching them? Because I obviously want my kids to understand the value of work and understand even the value of hard work for something that you really want and being persistent and all of those qualities that we kind of grew up with that helped us along the way.
Yeah.
But I do often question the notion of whether or not this, you know, hard work pays off and all these little slogans that we have, that we heard, if they're actually true or if they're just part of a burnout culture that is North America.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's this is highly personal, and I'm not speaking about for the bricklayer working in Wisconsin or the carpenter working in Pennsylvania or the, you know, hard labor people, because
Yeah,
different jobs are different.
for
But
sure.
one of the big things that I want to instill in Marcus and Maya is not just hard work. It's how do you find joy, or at least the moments of happiness in work? How do you make sure that you enjoy some of the work that you do, right? You don't have to enjoy every parts of it.
Yeah,
But when I come to work, I don't hate all of it and I don't love all of it, but I do
Yeah.
find moments of happiness, moments of joy. Sometimes it's artificial. I sprinkle my runs in the afternoon. Sometimes it's organic in the sense that I get it. I didn't plan on having a conversation with my customers for an hour, but I do. And that was rewarding,
yeah,
right? Following up on a customer request or a complaint, you know, emailing back and say, hey, what can I do to help? I really, in learning about the problems that our products are having in shipment, or, you know, what concerns that they were having, I really found that to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
So there are aspects of my job that I do enjoy. And so when I work hard, it's also, I want to teach my son, find those opportunities, be observant, find those opportunities in work that you enjoy. If you're practicing golf, it's not about just swinging the club, but find the opportunities in those moments to figure out what do you enjoy in that moment and in that practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lifelong lesson, because they're gonna figure that out. They're
sure.
gonna be 30 years from now, they're gonna ask the question, I'm doing something I may not enjoy every day. Are there parts of it I do enjoy? And
Yeah.
focus on that.
Yeah, exactly. That's part of our growth, I guess, as individuals. What are some of the strategies that we'd use to ensure that our business continues running smoothly while we're away. Like we're just on a walk now and we're talking about what we're going to do while we're away. What's our plan?
Yeah. So this is where my penchant for planning comes in handy, right? Like the don't make things a surprise becomes very important when you're 10 time zones away, right? So, and it's really simple. So first and foremost, I have some really good employees that know what they're doing. They've been with me for a long time, and they're good at what they do. So that's one. Two is that I communicate with them and let them know exactly what my plan is. When am I going to be online? When am I going to be offline? Plan for conversations around those times, and make sure they understand and expect my behavior, and then I have the same of them, right? So I understand what they're doing and what I expect them to do while I'm away on vacation, and they understand and expect me to behave in the way that I told them I will when I'm in Spain. So
like clear communication and expectations of that time away.
Yeah, it's not rocket science.
Yeah, including
it's not rocket science. And I want this is a great opportunity to actually to kind of highlight this point. I want to like really discuss or highlight this particular idea. Like getting great work done is less about like crazy creative strategies or incredibly like innovative ideas. It's not that complicated. It's really about clear communication. Often, if you can just communicate with people about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, communicate often, communicate with no malice, no emotion, and do it frequently, and then learn in that process, that has more to do with success of anything.
I was listening to a call with a bunch of female entrepreneurs a few days ago, and someone shared, I think it was Lexi from Roxanne, she shared that her goal every day with her employees is to be clear and have it received kindly. I'm not sure if I'm saying it exactly how she said it, but she always wants to be clear and have it received kind.
Yeah.
So she's getting the message across that she wants to get across clearly, but in a kind way, and have it received that way.
And Lexi's correct.
Like that.
And Lexi's is on the right road there, because that will be 75% of all matters of success.
Yeah.
Right there. So, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, agreed. So do you want to share a story about where taking time off actually did lead to a significant breakthrough or inspiration, or something where you decided that time off is important and I need to do more of it?
From a business perspective?
No, from your perspective, you.
From me? I mean...
At what point did you start deciding? Like, I'm trying to remember this for ourselves, but like, at what point did we agree? Because I remember when we took our honeymoon 10.5 days ago, maybe now. I think we took almost a month.
3 weeks.
It's really hard for you.
Yeah.
I really struggled with it.
It's a very bad example, though.
Going into it, no, let me finish. And through it, and then when we came back, it was really hard. Like it wasn't successful in that sense. And then we didn't travel much after that for many years because we were trying to conceive, and then we did. And then we were trying to conceive again. And all of our holidays were somewhat in limbo because it was always, if I get pregnant, then we'll go. And then COVID happened.
Yeah, it was bad.
Travel. So then after COVID settled down, we decided, we had a family wedding in Greece. And we decided we're taking 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
And I mean, going into that trip, I'm pretty sure you were terrified. But coming out of that trip, I really saw how beneficial it was for all of us. So what do you think happened there?
Well, so let's kind of give a little bit more color to the situation here.
Oh, you're good at that.
Yeah. So the very first time that we on our honeymoon, which is about 10 years ago, I went in with the business at a certain level. I came back out and it was a mess. The business basically broke at that level. Probably my fault. Maybe I didn't have the in fact, I didn't have the right people in place. So it shouldn't have been a surprise. But it irrevocably broke the business, and it never went back to what it was before that, which led to, selling the business, which led to, in effect, Saranghae. So it all turned out well. But yeah, I think when we went in at we went in at a certain level. I think revenues were half by the time I get back. It was reaching towards that. And the guys were like, oh, it was pretty good. And I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, what in the world are you talking about? So that was interesting.
I remember that time. It was very dark. It was very, very scary.
I mean, the honeymoon was great. I had a great time. My tan was incredible. and the donaires were incredible. I mean, I had a great time. And
we went to Turkey and we went to Greece.
Yeah. The memories from that time were absolutely incredible. So I don't regret it. And then we had a trip planned to Dubai.
Yeah.
We had to cancel that. And
I got pregnant.
That's right.
With our son, and I got very sick in the first few months, so we had to cancel that trip.
Not only that, we did not have any, what would happen if we got sick at the trip? Do we have access to the right Medicare? How much would all that stuff came into play, right? So that was the last big trip that we were going to go until we went to Greece, okay? Going into Greece, I knew that I had to figure out a way to get okay with long trips, or else we were going to be stuck at home for the rest of our lives. That was not an option.
Having that. That was
no. My wife was not going to have that option, so I had to figure out a way, and we prepared for it beforehand.
Yeah.
It went smooth. It went fine. It went without a hitch. So that was good.
And interestingly, we had a much smaller team.
Yes.
At that time. So
That's
it
right.
really does speak to the people that you have on the team, and then also the leadership that you have grown to become.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll admit I have become much less strict in what I consider to be important than before, right?
Yeah.
So coming out of the Greece trip, though, I had a lot of what happened to me was that I had a lot of these preconceived notions of what I like, what I don't like, food, weather, all that, and Greece just smashed it. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this happened and it didn't fall apart, and in fact I kind of enjoyed it. And so when you have these little aha moments, it becomes very good in all aspects. So that's really what happened. Is it made me kind of refocus a lot of my viewpoint on what's important to me, and
that is the essential reason why I like to travel.
Yeah,
it's because it forces you to look at the world from a different perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you're doing that, things happen. Ideas come. But even also for us, our health was significantly better when we were away. So it just made us start thinking about how can we creatively make this happen more often without hurting our business, but also helping our business and ourselves.
Well, I mean, the realization of what a tomato should actually taste like. It was crazy how delicious vegetables were in Greece with no salad dressing or anything added to it compared to what we have here in Toronto. And that kind of opened my eyes. What are we actually eating here in our country, right?
The word organic didn't exist in Greece.
There was
all organic.
Yeah, there's no organic certification in Greece. Everything is, naturally organic, right?
Yeah. So I mean, those things were really eye-openers, I think, for both of us. And now it's just inspired us to figure out how we can make this work more often for longer periods of time.
Okay, I think we were probably almost out of time here. So let's end it with this question I'm going to give to you, which is, what advice would you give people on the same boat? I know Nancy's probably listening to this right now.
Shout out to Nancy McDonald.
Yeah, she's probably like, so okay, what are the strategies I can use to go ahead and not feel so guilty?
The advice that I would give from my perspective to other entrepreneurs struggling to balance work and rest is simply this. Like Peter said, to plan. Planning is so key to ensuring a smooth travel number one. Number two, make sure that you have the right people backing you up while you're not there. So the people who are, your customer service, the CFO, the COO, who are the people who are your right-hand people? And would you trust them with your life? That's really important. Being confident in the people that are working with you and for you, it really helps because, I know that the people that work for us will put their heart and soul into protecting our company and to protect our products and our customers. And I really believe that they care so much. And I think that's so important. But then the next thing I would do is to trust. So if you trust those people and you know that they're good people and you know what they're capable of, then you have to let go and you have to trust that it's all going to work out and allow them to take leadership and to step up and do what they can do. And sometimes taking that time away allows them to shine in a different way, and it allows you to see them shine. And I think that's a sweet spot that you don't always get if you never leave.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I think there's much of that, but I do really believe in rest. And I really believe in, as entrepreneurs, it's very easy to be on that hustle and grind wheel all the time because it's your baby, it's your business. But I feel very strongly that the more we rest, the better we perform because we are well. And our well-being is ultimately affected in every area of our life if it's not taken care of. So with that, I'm going to thank you for tuning in to this episode of Love Saranghae with us, Peter and Andrea. We hope that our insights and our conversations on travel and rest have inspired you to embrace these breaks in your own life. And remember, it's okay to take time to yourself and to prioritize your well-being. Sometimes those moments of rest and reflection bring the biggest breakthroughs in your business. Stay connected with us, and we'll see you next time.
Take care. Hi, welcome to Love Saranghae with Peter and Andrea. In the next 30 minutes, we'll take you on a journey into the exciting world of entrepreneurship, relationships, and the secrets behind achieving that coveted glow. Are you ready? Let's go.